welcome back to you all. It's an honor always to have you all dialing in from all over the world. Every time I look at the attendee list, I am fascinated by the amount of people we have from really far-flung places. A lot of you obviously watching on demand and afterwards as well as live. But yeah, great mixture of brands and retailers. It's really fantastic. The great news, by the way, to open up today's session is that registrations are now live and open for the conference in June. I mean, it's been a long wait for many of us. I know a lot of the audience, all the chats I have certainly on social media with a lot of you after every episode is looking forward to that event in June in Copenhagen. So 8th, 9th and 10th, put that in your diary. Registrations are open. I'll remind you at the end of the session today as well in terms of where to go to book those tickets, because it's going to be a fantastic event. And there's so many, I mean, the worry is how we're going to squish us all in the room, because there's so many people who want to come to this event after, you know, the last couple of years. There's a pressure, there's a kind of an excitement certainly about getting things going again and being in the same room and all the networking opportunities that are there. So anyway, put those dates in your diary, 8th, 9th and 10th of June. Now, today's session, so this session is all about new trends and innovation in DIY and in the network. And I think what's interesting about the last couple of years, obviously, is the rise of digital and the rise of digital behaviors. And so we've spoken a lot on this platform, particularly around marketplaces, around we've done Amazon, and we've done optimizing your brand on digital. And so we're really, really delighted today to be joined by Sacha Buyck. And Sacha is from bol.com. Turn on your camera there and microphone, Sacha, and join us. So Sacha joined bol.com, I mean, it was about 7 years ago, was it, Sacha? So you've kind of grown with this very small company in bol.com. You've watched the marketplace get bigger and bigger. Hey, how are you, Sacha?
Hi, Ken Huggis. Thank you very much. Yes, I've been there for 7 years, and it's been quite a roller coaster and an exciting adventure so far. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're going to get into who the company is more in your presentation, but you kind of grown with the company yourself, even in terms of your job. So give me you're responsible for getting new partners onto the platform and for developing business. And so look, we'll do questions afterwards, and I think it's fascinating. Marketplaces in terms of new connections with customers. Certainly, this audience are very hungry for understanding how to grow their businesses through new channels and new methods. So we're really delighted to have you joining us. So look, I'm going to give it over to you. Let's say you do your bit, and we'll come back with questions. For those of you watching this live, there is questions here. I think you can pop them around here on the platform, somewhere around here. So pop them in, and we'll get them on this side, and we'll feed them into Sacha afterwards, and we'll have a good debate around marketplaces. But until then, Sacha, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Ken. I'll share my screen and open up the presentation. Is it on?
It is.
Is the presentation on, Ken? Yes. Okay. Thank you. So welcome everybody, also from my part, and thanks Iñaki for having me, and thanks Ken for introducing me, and thanks to everybody for making time to listen to my story and the bol.com story. So yes, as Ken said, I'm responsible at bol.com for acquiring and supporting Belgium and international partners. I have the chance to do that with 25 colleagues of mine in Antwerp. We have a little small office in Belgium. Our headquarters are in Utrecht. We work with 45,000 people now. And to give you an idea, when I started 7 years ago, I was number 320 or something. So we've done an 10x in not only in colleagues, but also in turnover in the last years. So it's quite a roller coaster. Yes, I would like to talk to you guys, 3 topics today. What are platforms? Everybody says they're new, but to me, they are not so new reality. Bol.com, we always say, but always for 20 years, but it's only day one. We really feel that this is just the beginning for us. And I have some numbers on DIY in Benelux, Belgium and Holland, and some changes we see, we notice, and how do we look from bol.com perspective at DIY as a part of our proposition. So these are the 3 topics I would like to touch. And of course, afterwards, feel free to ask your questions. I will try to answer everything. If there's something I don't know or I cannot answer, I gladly come back to that later. So I always think it's good to look what is happening in the world. And if we look in the world, it's really a platform revolution. Like 7 to 10 years ago, nobody was talking about it. Now everybody is talking about it. If we look, 7 out of 10 of the biggest companies in the world are platforms. Like 1/3 of all economic activity is done by and on platforms. And if you look more into our branch, like 63% of all product searches starts on a marketplace. I must say this includes Google as a marketplace, but if you look on the search volume in non-food and food retail, we see that like almost 50 to 60% starts on Amazon, on bol.com, on the real non-food and food marketplaces. So there's a really shift going on from Google to niche marketplaces. And we see the same shift going on in advertising spend, which we project to be like 1/5 of all spend will be on platforms. So this is huge. And if we look back, this is I always say my most fancy slide of them all. If we look back, people say, yeah, platforms are new, marketplaces are new. But to me, marketplaces, they exist like for like tens of maybe hundreds of years, because what we see here, this is a marketplace. This is a picture of the cattle market in Brussels. I think it's beginning of the 1900s. And actually what we see here is a lot of offer, so a huge amount of cows, and a lot of customers, a huge amount of people. And they all want the same. They all have one specific demand, one cow they are looking for them the perfect cow. And the best chance to make what we call a happy match between offer and demand is to combine a lot of offer and a lot of demand on one place. So that's in essence what a marketplace does. No more, no less. We see it in other branches. Okay? This is a second-hand store. Somebody who wants to buy something second-hand. It's good to offer him a huge amount of second-hand stuff because he's looking for second-hand stuff. We also see it in food. I like this concept. This is in Ghent. There's a lot of food stables and a lot of small restaurants in this place, but you have one big terrace where everybody can eat together. So if you go with like 4 people to eat, you're not bound to a specific Italian restaurant to say somebody can eat Italian, somebody can pick Chinese, another guy can eat fruit, and you can eat them all together. So big offer to match a specific demand. That's what a marketplace does. That's what bol.com does. We truly believe that this offers the best customer experience. And we truly believe you cannot do it by yourself. Here on the right, you have like 10 what we call USPs, what retailers or shops can excel in. You can be very accessible. You can have like 100 of shops on a big road. It's very accessible. You can have the best prices. You can give the best service, but it's very difficult, nearly impossible, I'd say, for a retailer or to offer everything to the customer in every purchase he wants to do. But if you work together on a marketplace, we really believe that you can tick all the boxes and really give the best customer experience to our and your clients. In the middle, you see some Belgian partners we work with. There are brands like Samsonite, and there are a lot of retailers like Fun and Torfs, or 2 Belgian chains. They have more than, I'd say, 50 to 100 shops. They work together with us. And there are also little small entrepreneurs and also online retailers. So we have a mix of them all. We have in total 50,000 partners. 45,000 are Dutch, 5,000 are Belgian, and we have like 150 international partners, mostly from Germany and France. But we are very selective in working with international partners because we really are a Benelux platform, and we really look for added value if we want to work together with international partners. So it's good to keep that in mind. So that was the first part. I'll go over to the second part and go more into detail about bol.com. As said, we are a local marketplace or a local player. We are very lucky to be in Netherlands and Belgium because these markets, and especially Holland, are very, very attractive e-commerce markets. If you look at the numbers here, the internet penetration, the smartphone usage, the e-commerce penetration, this is really top notch in the world, especially in Europe. I think only the UK comes a little close but that's it. You also see the difference between Holland and Belgium. Belgium lags a little bit behind, but really Holland is a top notch. This leads that 90% of all online purchases in Holland are done locally from local websites. So the local customer, he finds everything he wants at a good price and a good delivery option in Holland. So he does not really feel the need to do cross-border shopping. Belgians shop a lot in Holland, but we look at it as one market from our perspective. And this is like the timeline of the history of bol.com. And it makes me always proud to present this slide, because we really as a company shaped e-commerce in our home market. We really become an institution, and the story is really quite an adventure, but also something to be proud of. We exist like 22, 23 years now, so we're just being another adult now. And we started off as an online bookstore. It was quite funny. I was talking to Iñaki yesterday or the day before, and Bol stands for, he said, your business model looks like Amazon. And I said, yes, Bol stands for Bertelsmann Online, and Bertelsmann is and was the biggest the biggest book publisher in Europe. So like the late 90s, they saw what was happening in the States, where Amazon really was taking the book market by storm. And they wanted to do the same in Europe before Amazon came over here. So they launched Bol in every European country. Bol.com in Holland, Bol.de in Germany, Bol.it in Italy. And they really had the idea of making a European Amazon. But as I'm 52, so I remember in 2001, the internet crash came, the bubble exploded, the Nasdaq went to 20% of its value, and the boardroom of Bol, of Bertelsmann said, there is no future in the internet, so we're going to stop with the Bol in Europe. So they turned off the plug. But our founder in Holland, which was a consultant from McKinsey, Daniel Ropers, he really believed in the model. He said, no, we shouldn't stop this. So he bought the shares from Bertelsmann with a group of investors, and he continued the story. So I think if Bertelsmann looks back now 20 years ago, wasn't very strategic, very good decision to stop. But anyway, everybody makes mistakes. 5 years later, we were independent, not longer depending on Bertelsmann. So this means we looked at other categories. So we were already starting with electronics and toys, but we also saw that our core business, which were still books and media, was digitalizing very fast globally, like Spotify, the e-readers, Netflix. So we really had to make the strategic decision: do we also digitalize, or do we have another business model? So and then we decided to make it a shop of us all, which means we wanted to be there for every customer in the Benelux, which means we had to expand very much in categories. We've been doing this since then, like the last 15 years. We added DIY in, I think, 2013. We added sports, we added health, we added fashion last year, and now we have 42 shops. And I think we sell almost everything which is needed on a daily, possibly a daily base. Very important for the company was the purchase of Ahold Delhaize, 2012. Ahold Delhaize is the biggest food retailer in Benelux. Has also a substantial part in the States. So we totally changed, because we suddenly became part of a holding with a lot of experience and with deep pockets. So that was good for our growth. In the same year, and I think was the best strategic decision ever, we opened up our platform for e-commerce partners, for other parties to sell their products to our customers. I will come back to that later, but this really funded our growth the last 5 to 10 years. What we also did from then until now, and which we are accelerating in, is developing services for that partner. So we really want to facilitate our partners to service our clients better. So we have fulfillment centers, we have advertising possibilities for partners, and we are still expanding that ecosystem as we speak. As said, this led us to do, I think, factor 10 in sales in the last maybe 7 or 8 years, which made us the clear #1 market leader in Holland and Belgium. And if you really look where that growth and that market leadership comes from, it's from the platform. It's from our partners. It's from cooperating with partners. It's from making the best possible experience to our customers together. Like you see, when I started in 2015, you see the dark blue area on the graph. I think platform sales were like 15%. We were really a traditional e-tailer where we had a lot of traditional relationships with suppliers. We bought and we sell. Platform grew so fast, and we also changed a lot in services and in our business model, that we have a CAGR growth of more than 100% in the last 10 years. Which is actually 5 times the growth we had on our own retail sales. This led that last year, more than 60%, I believe it was 63%, of all our sales were actually done by partners, which is quite amazing because it leads us to help our economy grow. Partners, they earn money. So I'm really proud of this. And we always say this is our home. So people ask a lot of things. Are you going to France? Are you going to Germany? We're always clear. Never say never, but it's not on our roadmap the first years. This is our home. We want to be strong here. We want to build our market leadership and expand it in Belgium and Holland. And we truly believe that we can only do that if people love us. And by people, I mean customers love us, but also partners love us. We want us to work together to provide the best possible experience to our customers. And we measure that by the NPS. I don't know if you all know the NPS, but that's the Net Promoter Score. It's how you measure how satisfied a customer or a partner is with your service. And if we look at customers, we are at a +30, and we are double as much liked as the highest scoring platform competitor. And when we look at the partners, we are triple loved versus our platform competitors. And we truly believe that this leads to our market leadership. If you look at our market share and leadership, we are 2, 3, and 4 together. And we truly believe that we can we grow our market share by 1 to 2 points every year. That's what we aim at. And we only have one business model in the future supporting that. What we are good at is creating high traffic volume. I come back to the number of customers later, but that's what we're good at. We are good at attracting volume to the platform. So that means we had a lot of customers. A lot of customers attract a large partner base. If we have a large partner base, it opens up the possibility and a need for us to make services for our partners. And if you combine all that, we truly believe that you can have the best customer experience. People talk about it. You get more volume, you get more customers. And that's our flywheel we always talk about, really localized for Belgium and Holland. And how do we do that? Well, we try to be close and nearby is our strategy. So we really try to build a relationship with both our customers and both our partners. But here I focus on the customers, and it really always gets me going, because in the center you see Santa Claus, and Santa Claus is very known here in Belgium and Holland. And you see him here holding a book. And like this book was a tradition in a physical retailer. He did it until I think 2015 or something. Then they stopped because it was the cost was too big. We launched this one like 3 years ago. I think we deliver 600,000 to 700,000 books physical to all the families in Belgium and Holland, and the response is so great. All the kids, they like to post pictures and then they put them in the shoe for Santa Claus. We get a lot of pictures from kids. We are very active on social media with all this. and people really love us. So the brand awareness of bol.com and the likability is very, very big, and it makes us, like in Holland, for 6 times in a row, the strongest retail brand. This is really something to be very proud of. And if you look at the customer experience, we talk about customers. We have now 13 million customers and active customers. And an active customer is a customer who bought something with us in the last 12 months. We have 34 million products. Everybody says 34 million products. Whoa, that's huge. And it's true if you look at a traditional retailer. But if you look at other platforms like Amazon and certainly Alibaba, this is a fraction of what they offer. We do not aim to have 100 millions of products. We want to have maybe 30 to 50 million unique and relevant products. Because if you can cope with the volume of products, it's quite doable to be best in the market on easy to find product, because you don't want your customer to get lost in like 200 million products. Well, that's not what we want. And we want to aim at as much as possible of these 30 million products delivered so fast as possible. So maybe even all the day after they are purchased. And if we promise something, we want to deliver on the promise. So on-time delivery for us is one of the most important KPIs. It says here more than 95%. I think it's actually 98.5%. We deliver on time. And what also is very important for a customer experience, when there is a problem, you want to solve it as fast as possible and as human as possible. So 70% of our customer service calls must be answered within 30 seconds, and we aim at 100% of calls answered within 30 seconds. Of course, this attracts a large number of customers. But if you have a large number of customers, what you want to do as a retailer or as a platform is optimize on this customer base. So we have developed a loyalty program which offers a lot of benefits to customers. They pay 10 euros per year for this service. They get free delivery, they can save points, they get a lot of deals and discounts only for select members. And we see that customers really love this. So we have an 80% year-on-year growth. And we see that these customers really become our top customers with an average spend of more than 200 euros on average. But I always talk about we, and when we talk about we really talk about us, 4,000 to 5,000 bol.com employees, but together with 50,000 local entrepreneurs, retailers, brands. We could never do this alone. That I'm really sure about. The strong partner focus is really central to our success. We also look at the numbers. We see that the last 2 years, we have a 60% CAGR on platform sales. We really work together with the partners, not only on sales, but also in advertising. You can see them on television, you can hear them on the radio, you can see them in the streets on big posters and abris, which also good for them because it attracts also traffic to their website. So this is really something to be very, very proud of and really adds value to the local economy. Talking about services, I'm not going to go into detail for this, but this is really important because you want your partner to be able to focus on what he's good at, and what he's good at, that is selling a product and knowing his product and giving the best content, the best pictures, the best help if there's a problem. But maybe they're not so good at logistics, maybe they're not so good at content. So we need to help them with that. So we really develop logistic services, and we're really developing advertising services so that it's very cost efficient for our partners to get the package to the client, and so that it's also very efficient to be visible to the customers, because that's not always easy. We really know that. As said, we always say it's only day one. We really believe for us, this is just the beginning. Because if you look at the market, on the left, you have the online sales. Belgium and Holland combined is 17%. If you look in China, it's 27%. So there's ample growth in the online market. And if you look on the right, you see the platforms and the e-commerce companies. Where you look there, you see in China, like 95% is done by a platform. You see in Germany, more than half of all online sales are done by a platform. If you look at Holland and Belgium, it's only like 15 to 20%. So the platforms have growth in the online share sales, and they also have a growth in the share of the online sales. We're gonna focus on 3 game changers which will enable us to accelerate our market leadership. As said, this is the Select membership. We want our loyal members to buy more categories and more often. We want to help our partners to be more visible on the platform and sell their products better. And we want our partners to be more cost efficient. So we're gonna scale logistics very, very fast to help our partners facilitate their sales. I picked one out as a game changer. And if you look at Belgium and Holland, you see the 12 dots on the right. They are all central, South Holland, which is central of our market. We want to double our warehousing footprint. We have 4 warehouses open now, 2 big ones and 2 smaller ones for last mile, and one for big SKUs, for furniture and so. And we all want to do that in a CO2 neutral way. So this really is a game changer for us. So that was bol.com. One of our shops and one of our growth pillars is also our DIY. I collected some numbers. The numbers are 2020 for the Benelux market. For the Benelux retailers and brands that are here, I hope you recognize them because this is GfK. I didn't have time enough to collect the 21 data, but I could come back on that later if anybody would like that. So what we have seen on the left is in 2020, 20% growth. Of course, we all know that Corona played a huge part on this. I come back to that later. What's very interesting is on the left is that now 9% of all online DIY sales are online. In Benelux, we have about half of the online sales in DIY. And when I say we, I mean bol.com and its partners. What we also look at outside the traditional GfK market is solar panels and smart home. We don't really have a proposition yet on that, but we are really looking into that for the coming years because it's a huge market. It's almost 2 billion combined on top of the 3.5 of the traditional DIY market. What's interesting is that you look at 20 to 25, we have seen huge growth. We are not going to see the same growth the coming years. But anyway, the market will still grow with 20% to 6.5 billion. So this is a very attractive market. Which is quite interesting is if you look at the online market shares, they differ per category. You see like paint only has 15% online at the moment. Instead of garden, and I also checked power tools, they have more than half is online. So there's a lot of adaptation and complexity in some calculating tools, some delivery options, which need to be fixed first to open up online for all categories. And maybe some categories will never go very big online. I think about very big stuff that's really people want to buy in the offline shops. But of course, it wouldn't be a presentation in 2022 without mentioning Corona. So we saw that it really changed the market. It changed the consumer. You know, there's a permanent shift online. We've seen that. We've reached groups we didn't reach before, especially people above 50 who were a little scared of using online. Well, they came online and they stay online. Point 2, the home office. I think everybody loves to work at home. I'm at home now. I don't know if you guys are at the office or at home, but if you're more at home, you connect more with your home. You want it to be different because you're more in your home. So the remote office is there to stay too. So people will invest more in their home. What's interesting is also the do it for me market. So we see a lot of startups in Holland and also platforms where they connect also an offer of a lot of pros with a demand, people that have a job to do at home, a DIY job, and they cannot do it themselves. So that search will also be online. Two other things are the smart home. The market growth is a year-on-year 30%. So that's also looking in the future. And what is also very new is that governments have more and more regulations and also support for sustainable homes. So these are really big changes in the market. And if you look at bol.com, we position ourselves as the helping hand, which means that we understand for a lot of people that a job is new and exciting. We want to lend them a helping hand to make sure that every job succeeds and that they feel comfortable enough to take on the next job when they succeed in this one. And how do we want to do that? We want to help them choose their product out of the biggest assortment, but very easy and accessible. It shouldn't be a search of 2 days. The customer journey must be to the point and fast, because that's how people shop online, but also accurate. And we want to help them find somebody who can help them by lending a hand. If they want to outsource the job, they do not want to do them themselves, or they cannot do it. For who do we want to do that? We want to do that for every amateur and pro handyman in the Benelux. Very easy. We're not there yet. We're taking steps, some good steps, some baby steps. We have so much opportunities. It's always pick your fights and set your priorities. But this is our roadmap for the coming years. So for us, this really is just the beginning. For me, 3 key takeaways before I stop and hand them over to Ken. Platforms are not new. Of course, they are growing exponentially in a digital world. This is really new. Platforms offer a seamless customer experience. By working together, you can provide that customer experience. You cannot do it alone. And when it looks at DIY, we want to lend a helping hand, and that we do that in different tactics and strategies. So that was my presentation. I would like to thank you and give the word to Ken. So I will stop sharing.
Excellent. Thank you. Sacha, you've catapulted our online audience into question mode. There's a flood of questions, which is great, Firstly, thank you so much. I really enjoyed that. And I didn't know that bol.com was just like Amazon in terms of its book history, starting off selling books. Okay, there's loads of questions, so I'm just going to start through them because we're going to be here for 2 hours otherwise. Okay, the first question, which is interesting in terms of, you talk about the markets, Netherlands and the Benelux. Obviously, you've got multiple languages going on there potentially. So there's a question that came in from Florina that says, well, how do you work across several languages in the Benelux region? Are the customers and partners supported in their own language? Like, how does that work when you've got multiple geographies?
Is that versus partners or customers?
For both. So I mean, the question is like, if you're running across several geographies that have multiple languages, how does a platform cater for each customer? Does it do it in their own language? How does that bit work?
Dutch until so we served Belgium, but actually it was the Flemish-speaking part of Belgium, the Dutch-speaking part.
Yeah.
Until like 3 years ago, our Ahold Delhaize said, if you really want to cover the total of Belgium, you have to have a French-speaking website, which was a huge expedition for us because we had to translate everything. So it took us quite a long time to do that. And in 2020, we launched our app in Wallonia. So we have a French-speaking app, but only for the French-speaking part of Belgium. So it's not available in France. We don't deliver in France.
Yes.
We started marketing in Wallonia, in the French-speaking part, and since last year, our WW is also available in French. But for us, it's really a small part of our business. But so that's for the customer part, and for the partner part is quite the same. But 150 international partners we serve them in French, German, or English.
Okay. So wherever they come from. There's a great question which does come up on a regular basis about marketplaces. Probably not most of yours. Let's not name the other one, but this concern that a lot of fake products, dangerous products, are sold easily on marketplaces. How does Bol.com police that? How do you police what's actually being run through your platform in terms of its safety and its origins?
Well, we have an intake with every partner we have, and in this intake, we always state that some products are forbidden to sell on our platform, like fireworks. So we take it from the start. We make it clear that some things are forbidden to sell. We block EINs, so we block certain products not to be sold on our platform. Yeah. And I think by being local, we don't have like hundreds or thousands of Chinese sellers on our platform. So I think this really we really focus on quality. And if people sell a product which they clearly know that was forbidden to sell, we block them. They do not come back on our platform. So we are very strict on that.
Okay, so hard and fast in terms of this. I love this question from Peter. It reminds me of your slide about the cows. Do you sell cows? How are you in logistics for construction products? So are you? For physically large construction products, how are the logistics of Bol.com able to cope with that? Or are you working on that? It's a very good question from the DIY network perspective.
Yeah, I'm not a logistic expert, but I know, we started as a book seller. So really our sweet spot was in let's say 30 to 20 centimeter packages to sell. So our first logistics center was really also adapted to that as a sweet spot. Our second also because still 90% I think of our sales are small packages. But I think 1.5 years ago, we opened, we call it a large, we call our centers LVB, Logistics through Bol.com, XL. So we opened one for the bigger parts. But as far as I know, that's more like freezers and washing machines. They go through that. I don't think we really have a focus yet on construction materials because we really act on the demand of our customer. So if the demand is high for a certain product, we act on that. So like 3 years ago, we saw there was a high demand for fashion. We act on fashion. So I think we will act when the adaptation on construction models will go online, because for us, it's always choosing priorities.
Okay. It's a very fair question because, as you said yourself, the growth of platforms themselves, as they get bigger and bigger, the machine needs to cope with everything, which is very, very, very fair, I suppose. Okay. Something you said earlier on, and I'll throw my own question in here, about Bol.com being just fundamentally different in attitude to, let's say, an Amazon or an Alibaba. To me, it seems like you want to, and I wrote it down, close and nearby. I love that idea from a strategy point of view. So you want there to be an affinity with the brand Bol.com, even though it's just a platform, as you said, it's been there for thousands of years. It's an exchange portal, but yet you want it to mean something from a relationship point of view. Look at your NPS scores. You don't get those kind of scores unless you put the work in. So you're humanizing a marketplace interaction, which I personally think, if you take something like Alibaba or Amazon, let's take Amazon, very two-dimensional, very transactional. Even the interface, if you actually challenge yourself and look down at the interface of Amazon, it's very clunky. It's very, you could argue, 1990s in design. And so there's nothing there. I certainly don't have any affinity to Amazon emotionally. There's nothing in this heart space that Amazon own. It's convenient, fine. Whereas you seem to have decided very consciously from a strategy point of view to have Bol.com stand for something, that Santa story you told with the books. And so you obviously reach out to connect with consumers for kind of customer lifetime value stuff. Where did that originate? Because otherwise it would be very easy to build a platform and just try and monetize it. And, you know, whose idea was it, or why do you think the ball.com piece seeks to humanize marketplace?
Right, it's quite interesting because I think working together has been in our DNA from the start, you know, and doing things together. And together mean as a colleague with our partners, but also with your customer. You have to interact to be good. So really, it's in our DNA. But if you take a step back, you know, and you look at the world, and you know the Amazons and the Alibabas, you know, I think Amazon has like 150,000 developers. You know, I don't know. Alibaba maybe has 500,000. Yeah, we have 2,000, I think, which is huge in Benelux. But if you look at it on a global scale, this means nothing, you know. So we can never win a battle on our territory versus the global players on a tech point of view. You know, they will always be faster, better than us, you know. So we have to find an alternative way, yeah, to survive and to survive in the future. So we chose for the path to really get into the hearts of our customer, you know.
Okay.
And if you get into the hearts of the customer, you know, the customer, he maybe doesn't need the last tech revolution if he loves you, you know. Maybe you have a price elasticity. It doesn't always have to be the cheapest products. Huh? Maybe on price, we cannot compete on everything with Amazon and Alibaba. But if your customer loves you and he feels you're there for him, if he has a problem and he gets answered in 30 seconds, or he has to make a call to China where it takes him 2 weeks, you know, maybe he doesn't care if he pays €2 more. So that's a strategy we have been doing for like, I think, 8 or 9 years now. We also do it with a partner. And like the NPS, it's a hard KPI for every employee on bol.com.
Yeah.
So it's part of our bonus. If our NPS is not good, we don't get a bonus.
Okay. So yeah, it's philosophically driven down to the company that way. That's interesting. What about, you know, I can imagine a retailer listening to you today thinking like, okay, this sounds like a great space for a brand. From a retailer point of view, Robert asked, you know, do you partner with retailers themselves, and how would your platform help a retailer's customer experience in general? Like, so do you partner with retailers as well as brands?
Yeah, we have entrepreneurs who have their own business. They like one FTE. We have small retailers with 2-3 shops. We have retailers with plus 100 shops. We have brands stepping in now. Brands came a little closer because they had a lot of scare about channel conflict and stuff. Was really a big topic for brands like the last years. But yeah, if I look at a brand retailer, I worked with a brand before, and I know a lot of people who are retailers. You know, if you really look at the numbers, you know that 50% of online sales will be on a platform. As a businessman, yeah, it would be not very wise to ignore that. You know, if you look at the future, the customers are there. They love it. They love the platform. You know, if you're not present, you're certain to not have a piece of your cake in terms of sales and visibility. So what I advise entrepreneurs, brands, and retailers is go out and explore it. You know, just try it. We try little. We have a lot of retailers who have conflicts or problems and stuff. We always say start small. You know, we don't want your 20,000 SKUs on the platform the next week. You know, let's start with 100 SKUs.
Okay.
If you start small and you learn a lot, you know, maybe some products, they're not meant to be on the platform. Maybe some retailers are not meant to be on the platform. That's okay. But I would say go out there and explore. That would be my advice to brands and retailers.
What about the impact on margin? So what about, you know, obviously there has to be a margin implication for using a platform for me as a brand or a retailer. Is that a valid concern? You must get that question when you're you know, pitching for new business and new partners.
Every concern is valid, Ken. So
come on, it's business, so people must say, well, what's the margin hit on this?
Of course, that's a very good question. I always say, you know, we work with a no cure, no pay principle. So you can always start, and if you don't sell, you will not pay. So let's say exploring is always kind of free, you know. So the learning experience that you have is kind of free.
Okay.
It's good to know that if you pay a fee with bol.com, it's 2 things I want to say. You know, it's very depending the fee on the category the product is in.
Okay.
When we started off with our platform, we had a base fee of 15% for every category because the business was also new for us.
Yeah.
We started and retailers said, yeah, you guys, you're crazy. You know, on power tools, I have a margin of 8%.
Yeah.
You asked me 15. Why in the hell would I sell my power tool on your platform? So that was new for us because platforms was new for us. So we adapted a lot. I took out two examples. We lowered our fees for power tools to 4.5%. You know,
Okay.
if you look at, let's example, a bathroom furniture, maybe it's 18%. So we balanced out our margin based on the market.
Okay.
The fee, not the margin, because that's the second point. The fee is not a margin for us. You know, in the fee, you have to know as a retailer or as a brand, there's a lot of costs in it, which otherwise online you would also have. There is marketing, you get customers, there's above the line marketing, there's SEA in it. You know, we do the customer service, the credit card costs are all included in the fee. So fee is it's not margin.
Yeah.
I think if you take it seriously, it's good from in the beginning to make a different P&L where you don't take your overhead and your other costs in it, because otherwise you're not being very fair on the.
Okay, let's get into some more questions because they keep flooding in. I'm going to lean forward here to read them off the screen. What is the best-selling? Raina wants to know what's the best-selling product in ball.com's DIY category. So, any idea off the top of your head?
Well, I think I'd say power tools, tools, and power tools and garden equipment.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if it's DIY, like barbecues and stuff for the garden. Yeah, so we're very good at that. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously that makes sense in the last 2 years. Stephen, do you use bots and trolls, which usually help the customers as they often have unique questions? So yeah, how automated is your customer service? Are you using bots? Is it all?
Oh, we have a bot. We have him, I think, for like 15 years. In the beginning was you get the strangest answers. So yeah, everybody uses bots now, I think. But it's an option and it's very clear that's a bot, you know. And if he doesn't give you the answer, you know, he gets you to a customer service agent. We have social media. We're very good at social media, I must say. Very funny always. So we had different touch points.
Okay, and that relationship part is really important. I think that does set you apart. That you know, that real human relationship between you. Okay, Rob wants to know, what is your perception of brands offering their products on Plaza Direct to consumers versus same brands selling to Ball in order to sell to customers via Ball? Oh, that's a complicated question. How do you handle similar offers on Ball Plaza as from Ball as a seller? Does that make
I think I understand the question. Yeah, I think
good.
I think they want to know if we prefer a supplier relationship or a partner relationship.
Yeah.
It really depends, you know. It really depends from brand to brand. What does the brand want? What is the best for the customer? Sometimes it's better for us to buy, but the overall strategy is into partnerships. Sometimes we have the double function. Sometimes we have the hard runners going through a supplier relationship because that's better for the margin and that's better for the price overall versus the customer. And then we see a lot of brands experimenting with the long tail now. So like. It's for us, it's obvious if we like sell 1,000 smartphones of this model a day, maybe it's better to have a supplier relationship. But only if you only sell 3 a month, maybe it's better for the brand to do it himself. Yeah. And it's better for the customer, but it's really depending. So it's often custom made. Yeah. But the overall direction is partnerships.
The last question, I was conscious of time. So the last question to you on someone's watching this. So obviously, as you said, you don't intend to take over the world anytime soon. Maybe on the future roadmap, but not immediate. So your focus is home. And let's say I'm based in Italy or Germany or the UK, and I'm watching this and thinking like, I want to be on this platform. Am I correct in saying, of course, if they want to access the Benelux markets, they are, you know, more than willing to reach out to you to service those markets, even though they're not based in those geographies?
So everybody's always free to reach out for me. But I must say our real focus and our strategy is local. You know, so that's very important. That's strategic, you know. But we are not blind to what happens in the world, you know. And if we want to compete with global players on some product groups, some price points, we cannot compete with the retailers in Benelux. So we need bigger retailers, bigger brands,
Yeah.
to be competitive, you know. So
Okay.
we really say if it adds value to our proposition, let's say on assortment, on price, yeah, we're wanting to talk, you know.
Yeah.
And it has to be beneficial for both. So
Okay.
what we do is look, is it good for our customer? Because if it's good for our customer, it's good for ball.com, and it will be good for the brand or the retailer too, because he will have sales, you know.
Yeah.
If we don't match on those 2 points, it has no use in working together.
Yeah.
We're not looking for partners to add more non-relevant assortment or non-relevant prices. That's not how we work, you know.
Yeah. And you said it earlier on in your presentation, unique
But
value.
everybody is free to reach out. Yeah.
Yeah, unique value is important. And on the reaching out, are you on LinkedIn? Can we hit you up on LinkedIn somehow?
Yeah, yes, I'm on LinkedIn. So my name is Sacha Buyck.
Okay.
So they can reach out. Next week I'm on a holiday, so I cannot. Maybe next week I will not answer, but I answer every question. Yeah.
We don't accept that, Sacha. You've taken the webinar now, so we expect you to answer all our LinkedIn questions. Where are you going on holidays?
And to Lapland, I don't know. It's in English, Lapland. But
Lapland, yeah.
I might not be back again. So if somebody doesn't hear from me, I died in Lapland there.
Are you skiing? What's the plan? Skiing or?
No, I'm going with my 14-year-old son. You know, I was there 2 years ago.
Okay.
I thought it was amazing to see like 2 meters of snow, and I wanted to give that experience to my son. So we're gonna do a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure you do that James Bond snowmobile moment. Yeah,
of course. Yeah, on top of the list. Yeah.
That sounds good. All right. Well, listen, your surname is spelled Buyck. Anyone who's watching wants to hit you up on LinkedIn, and you'll see all your details are on our website anyway. So reach out on LinkedIn to you. Sacha, thank you so much for your time and your presentation. Really interesting conversation, I must say. And by the amount of questions we've had and the amount of feedback going on. By the way, apologies if I haven't asked your question. If you did ask one, there was just so many today. We had to pick the ones out as they came in. Listen, thank you so much, Sacha. Really, really appreciate it, and enjoy your holiday. Enjoy.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and good day to all, and we'll see each other again. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Paul. Listen, that was amazing. I really, really enjoyed that session. And I hope you did too. I think it's fascinating. And again, for me, the human connection there between marketers and customer and partners, even look at the NPS partnerships course, it's really, really important. Now, in terms of future content, John Herbert is still running his CEO series. The next one is on the 2nd of March with Conan from Japan. So the CEO there, Neo Taro Hikida, I hope I said that right, is joining John for a conversation. So please tune into those. They are amazing chats to understand the future of the DIY industry, and they're relevant problems and issues with supply chain and everything globally. So, and because those conversations are global CEO conversations, they are quite interesting. So make sure you do tune in. And by the way, they're all on demand here on the platform too. So do have a dig around in the last ones if you missed any of them. The next session here with me on the DIY Network and Trends and Innovations Future of DIY webinar will be on location-based marketing. So when you think about it, the last few sessions we've had have very much been online, because it is a space the digital reality we're in. It's amazing, and the whole digital world. But let's remember that customers still walk into physical stores every day. So our next session, which will be on the 14th of March, is around location-based marketing. How can we use the smartphone that is in people's pockets to greater maximization when they're in the store physically? How can we gamify the store experience? How can we have the pre-store visitation kind of work done, and how that comes to life in the store? And so that's going to be a really fascinating series. So make sure you note that in your diary on the 14th of March. We'll be joined by a couple of guests to discuss location-based marketing, what that means, and how you can optimize a store experience from a retailer and a brand perspective. So make sure you tune into that. And the last thing I need to say to remind you, as I said I would at the end, is that registrations are open for the Global DIY Summit itself, 8th, 9th, and 10th of June in Copenhagen. What I will say is that registrations opened and they're selling out pretty fast. There's obviously a capacity in the venue. So please do make sure you get your ticket early, not to be disappointed. I know the early bird tickets are on sale until the end of March, 31st of March. So get your ticket before then, because after that, the price changes. But certainly get it before then, just from a purely supply point of view. You do want to be there. I know everyone on this network, certainly in the social media chats I have, everyone's looking forward to the event, as I said. And so tickets are going to sell and sell out fast. And so make sure you get it. I mean, we've been waiting for this event for 2-3 years, and I know I'm very excited to be joining you all in Denmark in June. I will be certainly celebrating with a lovely glass of Carlsberg. So listen, thank you all for joining me today again, and look forward to seeing you live on air on the 14th of March for our next session. Until then, I'm Ken Hughes. Goodbye.